Hello, this is Business Now, reaching you live from IBRAN TV News Studios in Lagos. Coming up, National Electricity Regulatory Commission unveils apps for power outage report. Federal government restates commitment to tackling inflation, stimulating economic growth. World Bank Group launches new country partnership framework for Ghana. Hello again, and thanks very much for joining us. And here are business stories making headlines this hour. I'm Michael Nath. An aviation expert has said that the increase in the price of aviation fuel is a connivance of the ruling class. Aviation safety expert Dayo Kayode said this on the backdrop of the recent increase in the airfares due to the skyrocketing price of aviation fuel by over 100% to about 400 naira per litre. He added that airlines will be making more than enough profit due to the increase, while Nigerians will experience difficult times and reduce purchasing power. Dr. Kaide featured earlier in the day on IBRAN TV News Business Breakfast show.
With this increase, that means airlines will be making more than enough profit, either you like it or not. They'll be making more than enough profit. So it's good business for them. But to the people, it is bad enough. Because it's going to reduce the economic power of the people. The purchasing power of the people is going to be reduced. The real income of the people has been further shrinked, as it has been happening before. Now, you see, for you to be able to understand the connivance that is happening in the aviation industry in Nigeria against the people, you got to make some kind of comparative analysis as regards the difference between Lagos and Gatwick, then Ghana and Gatwick. What is the price to fly from Ghana to London and the price to fly from Nigeria to London? Unfortunately, the same distance. Why is that aviation fuel price increasing? Why? I don't know whether you understand. Why is it? Who are the people selling those aviation fuel? Who are in charge of that aviation fuel? It is still nothing other than the connivance of the ruling oligarchy.
Some business operators at the University of Lagos have continued to decry the negative effects of the 4-week warning strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of University of the Business. Ikoria reports that the business operators in the main campus of the university described the ongoing strike as killing their livelihood.
Open shops with no customers on site were common views captured by our camera lens. The ever-busy campus shuttle park in the school has become a shadow of itself as the park is visibly empty. Some business operators within the campus, while lamenting the situation, said economic and social activities in the school premises have been paralyzed, just as most shops and business centers are either locked or witnessing low sales. Some said they may not be able to pay back the loans collected by them to run their businesses if the situation continues.
The business is really down for now. So nothing is working out. We are really played with the federal government. We should call off the strike. Because for now, if we just come, we can see we are sleeping in the shop now. The business is not moving at all. Now, we don't even have money to eat for now. So talk of to pay the loan that we take from the microfinance. So it's really down now. The business is not moving.
The thing is really affecting us, especially we business owners. Imagine when you borrowed money to run your business. You can see we have all the market here, but there's no customer to buy your market. We are just sleeping. Come to shop. There's no customer. You can see now, like everywhere is counting in school. There's no like the thing. I just pray they really called off the strike soon because it's really affecting us.
While sympathizing with the business owners, Chairman ASUU UNILAG branch, Professor Dele Ashiru, said if the union does not take such decision to make the university function effectively, there will be no university in the nearest future for business owners to operate.
Well, we empathize with those who do business within the university environment, because once students are not around, it negatively impacts on their business, and we empathize with them. But sometimes you have to take tough decisions, to correct, a situation that is decaying. If some of these efforts are not taken, those who do business within and around the university community would also realize that they will find no university to do their business, in and around. So we empathize with them. We hope that they also will continue to mount pressure on government to do the right thing, so that, situation will get back to normal within the university community.
ASUU has since embarked on a 4-week strike to force the federal government to honor its agreement with the union. Boji Warrior, reporting for Ibrahim TV News.
The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Abubakar, said it's high time the country exported cocoa powder and other derivatives in order to boost the value chain, enhance the income of farmers, as well as earn foreign exchange for the country. He also said the federal government is working towards ensuring that Nigeria becomes the largest cocoa producer and exporter in the world. Abubakar, at the presentation of cocoa production update by the Cocoa Soil Group in Abuja, said a lot of articulated research by experts had gone into the cocoa production manual on how to increase production. The minister insisted that Nigeria should be the best cocoa producing country in the world, as the commodity could be grown in many parts of the nation. He said, quote, "We're seeing what is happening in other countries, and we will replicate it here. In the industry parts, farmers will bring their raw materials to be processed from there, and it will be exported." Researchers have also gone to find out why cocoa production is not at its utmost best here, because we have all it takes to be the best. End of quote. Now, the federal government has expressed its readiness to ensure that a high inflation rate in the country continues on downward trajectory, as well as work out ways to boost economic growth. It's, however, noted that though the Nigerian economy had consistently moved in the right direction for some time now, its impact on people's life was yet to be fully felt. These were made known yesterday by the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clement Awa, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja after Federal Executive Council's weekly virtual meeting on the latest gross domestic product figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics. According to Awa, the economy had been making a lot of progress given its consistent positive performance in recent times. Citing the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, the minister emphasized that work on reviving the economy is a continuous process, adding that he could not provide definite timeline to reduce the inflation to the level that would positively impact all Nigerians. The International Monetary Fund yesterday advised the federal government and governments of all other emerging economies to recapitalize commercial banks whose capital were affected by COVID-19 pandemic. In a report entitled Policy Options for Supporting and Restructuring Firms Hit by the COVID-19 Crisis, the fund said banks, as main creditors of many corporations, will need to remain well capitalized to provide a continued flow of credit to the real economy. It disclosed that in most cases, the losses in the enterprise sector will ultimately impact the banking system, with loan losses deteriorating the lender's solvency position and reducing lending space for bridge financing. But Central Bank of Nigeria-led Monetary Policy Committee member Festus Adenkunju said commercial banks have what it takes to withstand the impact of pandemic on their balance sheets and profitability margins. According to him, the capital adequacy ratio and non-performing loans ratio are trending in the right direction. Now, the Director General of the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, Dana Zumi Ibrahim, has said Nigeria is now exporting software across Africa stressing the need to develop a policy to regulate the importation of software content. Ibrahim said this while declaring open a two-day Niger Innovator workshop themed commercialization of innovation invention as a tool for economic diversification and growth in the Nigerian economy in Abuja. The DG noted that developed countries are enjoying royalty because they were able to protect and commercialize their research and intellectual assets. According to him, no country can develop without paying critical attention to innovation. He said that the agency was working with the Association of Nigerian Inventors to sensitize people on the importance of patenting their inventions and innovations to ensure commercialization at all levels. Now, company income tax recorded 124.71 billion naira, decline from 472.52 billion naira in third quarter of the 2021 to 347.81 billion naira in fourth quarter, the National Bureau of Statistics has said. The Bureau said this in its company income tax quarter 4 2021 published on its website on Thursday. It also said that on a year-on-year basis, company income tax collections in the period under review increased by 17.61% from fourth quarter 2020. Now, the report said that the information and communication sector accounted for the highest company income tax at 51.05 billion naira, followed by manufacturing at 45.09 billion naira, while financial and insurance services and mining and quarrying accounted for 31 billion naira each. Now, the National Electricity Regulatory Commission has said it would, within the next few weeks, roll out outage reporting app to enable customers report power supply situation, particularly outage in their areas. The Vice Chairman of the NERC, Musiliu Useni, disclosed this yesterday in Abeokuta, Ogun State Capital during the inauguration of the Commission's Forum Office for the state. Useni, who said the app would definitely integrate the system of the distribution company, added that the pilot to the facilities would start in Abuja. He said, quote, already the app can be downloaded from the Google Play and Apple Store. For the pilot stage, we'll be rolling out and making it available to customers in Abuja to enable them make complaints if there is an outage, end of quote. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ni Adebayo, said the federal government would henceforth sanction petroleum depot owners and oil marketers who contravene the provisions of the Weights and Measures Act 2004. Adebayo issued the warning yesterday in Lagos during a meeting with petroleum products marketers under the aegis of Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MUMAN, and the Petroleum Product Depot Owners Association, PPDOA. Adebayo, represented by Director of the Department of Weights and Measures, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Hassan Ejibuno, said the department was very critical to the operations of the oil and gas sectors. He said it was the department's responsibility to ensure that the instruments used for trade, oil and non-oil, are fit for use for trade transactions. He advised marketers and depot owners to cooperate with the inspectors from the ministry whenever they visit their business premises to carry out their statutory duties, which is for the common good of all. That the quantity of foreign exchange used for the importation of petroleum products into Nigeria fell to $1.04 billion last year from $1.32 billion in 2020, according to data obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria. As the country's refineries continue to sit idle, fuel imports remain a major user of foreign exchange, even as many businesses still lament the inability to access forex at the official rate. The nation's forex reserves have been on a downward trend in recent months, falling to a low of $39.77 billion on February the 15th, 2022, from $40.54 billion at the end of last year. The CBN's data on sectoral utilization of transactions valued for Forex revealed that $45.76 million was utilized in January 2021 for fuel imports, $64.67 million in February, and $142.31 million in March. The NBS data also showed that petrol topped the lists of products imported into the country in third quarter, accounting for 12.52% of the total amount spent on imported products, up from 11.26% in the previous quarter. Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company has reiterated its commitment to supporting efforts to help the country meet its lower carbon emission target. Apart from this being the right thing to do, it is also good for our business in Nigeria. A managing director of SNEPCO, Elohu Aiboni, said on Tuesday in Lagos at the opening session of the 2022 edition of the Sub-Saharan African International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference. Aiboni said Shell companies in Nigeria have a clearly defined strategy to support the country's net zero emission target, which she said was also an alignment with the Shell Group's ambition. She said, quote, Shell companies in Nigeria are contributing to the meetings this aggressive target by driving operational excellence of our existing assets, generating maximum value to secure and fund our growth and energy transition activities, and driving alternative energy solutions through the Shell seeded impact investment company, all on one. End of quote. Now, still to come, Russia's stock market crashes over 45% as country invades Ukraine. Details of this and more after this short break. Stay with us.
Most people don't understand the magic of the perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
You're watching Business Now on IBRAN TV Lagos. Africa seen now. Kenya Power's workers have threatened to go on strike in a dispute over the firm's plans to lay off 20% of its employees, or nearly 2,000 staff, most of them aging. The job cuts are part of Kenya Power's efforts to run a lean operation and compensate for revenue losses that followed the January cut in electricity prices by up to 15%. Workers through the Kenya Electrical Trades and Allied Workers Union, KETAU, have opposed the layoffs, arguing that the plan lacks their output. Now the strike could damage Kenya's economy with power outages. The boycott threat comes just weeks after 3 senior managers at Kenya Power were charged with sabotage and negligence over nationwide power outage last month. Kenya Power last month disclosed plans by layoff of 1,962 aging workers from Maine, what will trim down its staff count to 8,711 by June next year. The government, which is the utility firm's controlling shareholder, has been trying to shake up the company in recent months to address years of plunging profits owing to widespread inefficiency and high debt levels and thefts of electricity. In the meantime, Nairobi has launched a fresh assault on the multi-billion betting industry with legislative proposals that restrict gambling to five-star hotels with casinos and impose a 4-year jail term or 10 million shillings fine for opening outside of operating hours. The Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Amendment Bill 2021, currently before the Nairobi County Assembly, seeks to restrict the betting and gambling establishments in the city to operating between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. If passed, it will mark a departure from the current situation where gamblers can place bets any time of the day. South B Ward Representative Waithira Chege, the sponsor of the amendments, said the bill is meant to have the youth engage in productive work and prevent gambling addiction. Now, the World Bank Group's Board of Executive Directors today discussed the new 5-year county partnership framework for Ghana for 2022 to 2026. The CPF prioritizes investments in human capital, job creation, economic diversification, building a resilient health system, and fostering a greener and more inclusive society. Ghana has achieved considerable economic and social progress in the past 30 years. It achieved a middle-income status in 2011 because of strong, sustained economic growth, averaging over 5% since the early 1990s. This was supported by a stable democracy and driven largely by gold and cocoa exports and the development of substantial oil and gas reserves. It achieved the first Millennium Development Goal of halving poverty from 52.7% in 1993 to 23.4% in 2016 as the pace of poverty reduction has slowed in recent years and inequalities in some areas continue, particularly in some northern areas of the country. Foreign business news now. Now, the price of Bitcoin fell below $35,000 early Thursday after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a military operation in the Donbas region of Ukraine. Bitcoin was trading at $34.969 as of 1:02 a.m. Eastern Time, according to CoinMarketCap. That's declined more than 8% compared to a day earlier. The world's most valuable cryptocurrency fell below $40,000 over the weekend and has continued to slide as the Ukraine crisis intensifies. Now, the country currency has lost almost half of its value since its November high of $68,990 due to geopolitical tensions, the prospects of interest rate hikes by the U.S. Federal Reserve, and curbs by some major economies on digital assets. The cryptocurrencies also dropped hard early Thursday. Ethereum tumbled more than 12%, according to CoinMarketCap, while Dogecoin was down more than 14%. Now, stock markets slumped and ruble hit a record low on Thursday after Russian President Vladimir Putin launched an invasion of Ukraine. Europe's main stock markets opened 2.5% to 4% lower, and benchmark government bonds, the dollar, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, and gold all rallied in a move to safety. Now, Putin said he had authorized what he called a special military operation, and Ukraine government accused Moscow of launching a full-scale invasion. The United States and its allies will impose severe sanctions on Russia after the attacks. U.S. President Joe Biden said Europe's leaders said they would freeze assets and shut Russian banks out of its financial markets. The equities route had started with a 2.6% dive for Pan-Asian indexes. Europe's Stoxx 600 index then fell 2.75%, hitting its lowest since May 2021 and 10% below a January record high. The German DAX fell 3.7%, bearing the brunt of the sell-off due to heavy reliance on Russian energy supplies and the amounts its companies sell to Russia. Now, the surge in oil prices helped limit losses in UK's commodity-heavy FTSE 100, although it still slumped 2.3%, and futures markets pointed to similar falls for Wall Street later. S&P 500 E-minis were down 2%, and Nasdaq futures were 2.8% lower, which, if it materializes, would confirm the tech-focused index. It is in a so-called bear market. Meanwhile, Russia's stock markets is experiencing what many are describing as a bloodbath at the start of the trading session on Thursday, after Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a special military operation in Ukraine. The benchmark index, the MOIX index, which is the index comprising leading Russian shares, which opened Thursday trading session at 3,084.74 basis points, is currently trading at 1,681.55 basis points, representing a decline of approximately 45.50% as of the time of this writing. That's according to Bloomberg. Now, the crash came as investors are reacting to Western governments' promised unprecedented sanctions in response to President Vladimir Putin's shock announcement that Russia had launched military action against Ukraine. Continuing, oil prices jumped on Thursday, with Brent rising above $105 a barrel for the first time since 2014, after Russia's attack on Ukraine exhibited concerns about disruptions to global energy supply. Russia launched an all-out invasion on Ukraine by land, air, sea, and the biggest attack by one state against another in Europe since World War II. According to analysts, if sanctions affect payments transactions, Russian banks, and possibly also the insurance that covers Russian oil and gas deliveries, supply, outages can be excluded. Brent crude rose $8.24 to $104 or $5.08 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude jumped $7.78 to $99.88, and Brent WTI hit their highest since August and July 2014, respectively. And that's our package on Business Now. We go on a commercial break, and when we return, Margaret, who is very much around, will take us on more stories. I am Michael Nath. Thanks very much for watching.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. For clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense. Most people don't understand the magic of the perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiviv Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiviv family.
Thank you, Michael. This is News Now on Ivan TV. Here are some major stories we are tracking. I am Margaret Opara. The Federal Executive Council on Wednesday approved contracts worth 58.427 billion naira for roads and agricultural emergency intervention projects. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, and his counterpart in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, disclosed these to State House correspondents shortly after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the President at the Council chambers of the Presidential Villa. The federal government ruling over the reports of the Working Group of National Savings Scheme that has proposed a mandatory savings scheme for all Nigerians between 18 to 50 years of age, as the federal government seeks way of mobilizing funds to boost the national economy. The working group, which presented its report to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, in Abuja yesterday, advised the government against making it mandatory for corporate bodies to save. Dr. Oresto Feku, CEO, Foothold Advisors, who presented the report on behalf of the committee chairman, Mr. Fola Adeola, said implementing a mandatory national savings scheme was feasible, but noted that it has to be driven by incentive, primarily task. The group also recommended the scheme should be supervised by the Securities and Exchange Commission, starting off as a department in the commission. The committee suggested a 1.26 billion naira fund for the takeoff of the scheme. The House of Representatives has called for the immediate evacuation of Nigerians in Ukraine. The motion was moved by Representative Ahmed Muni during plenary on Thursday, but some lawmakers fear that it may be too late, as the evacuation should have been done long ago. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Bajamiamila, agreed with a lawmaker, Leke Abejide, to interact with the chairman of Air Peace, Allen Oyema, to evacuate Nigerians from Ukraine on Monday, February 28. The House Committee on Foreign Affairs has been mandated to liaise with the Foreign Affairs Ministry. The Russian President Vladimir Putin announced on Thursday a military operation in Ukraine with explosions heard soon after across the country, with Ukraine's foreign minister warning that a full-scale invasion was underway. Lawmakers are, however, concerned that there are many Nigerian students in Ukraine who could be caught in the crossfire. And away from that, operative of the Ondo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have destroyed 255 hectares of cannabis farms worth 900 million naira in the state. 13 suspects were also arrested in the one-week operation, which the command staged in conjunction with the agency's Special Strike Force operative from Edo, Osun, Oyo, and Ekiti states. This was disclosed by the Commander of Narcotics and the Deputy Director Strike Force, Mr. Nnadi Chidi, who explained that the exercise was part of General Buba Marwa's commitment to reduce drug scourge in Nigeria to the barest minimum. Nnadi explained that the operative destroyed 50 hectares at Ogbese, 19 at Ipele, and 58 at Okuluse, while 30 hectares of cannabis plantation were also destroyed at Allah, and another 5 along River Ugbese Bank and Omolowo Powerline Forest. Now, Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed February 28 to hear the bail application filed by the detained former commander of the Intelligence Response Team, 4th Intelligence Bureau, the Nigerian Police Force, Abba Kyari. Justice Eko fixed the date after counsel to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Mr. Mike Carter, informed the court on Thursday that the bail application was not served on him. After going through the court file, Justice Eko directed the applicant's lawyer, Ikenna, to save Casa in open court. The trial judge subsequently adjourned to February 28 to hear Abba Kyari's bail application. Abba Kyari is, among other things, praying the court to order federal government to pay him 500 million naira and also tender a written apology to him in 2 national dailies for the unlawful violation of his fundamental human rights. He is further praying the court for a declaration to arrest and continue detention of the applicant by the agents of the respondent without bringing him before a court of competent jurisdiction from 12th of February 2022 till date is illegal, unlawful, and a gross violation of applicants' fundamental rights to personal liberty and freedom of movement guaranteed by Section 35, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and Article 6 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, Ratification and Enforcement Act. Besides, he prayed the court to order his release on bail to enable him to take care of deteriorating health condition. Now, some Nigerian students have continued to condemn the incessant industrial actions in the nation's educational sector, especially the university education. Igboje Korea reports that students have called on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, respond to the needs of the union to enable them go back to classrooms at the expiration of the ongoing 4 weeks warning strike.
Cross-section of university undergraduates lamenting their ordeals as the recent 4 weeks industrial action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of University ASUU has entered its second week. The students said though they are in support of the 1 month strike but do not want it to get past 1 month. They said the crisis between ASUU and the federal government has almost become a recurrent decimal which happened yearly, thereby disrupting the university academic calendar. They said the strike is only affecting the poor, just as the rich have taken their children to private universities in or outside the country.
To me, the 1 month is actually okay, but I don't want them to extend it. But then again, if they extend it, it's not good. But the 1 month that they give us, the warning strike, to me, is like something to like cover up since that. Since it's 1 month, and I'm just praying for them not to like extend more than the 1 month, because the 1 month that they give to me, I'm using it to like cover up some stuff, and but strike is not good. That I cannot be spending more than what I'm supposed to. I mean, people that are in private university, like I know some of my juniors that they're in 200 level, and people that pass out before them are still in 100 level, still trying to enter.
No, it is not. The 1 month is enough for everybody. You should not persist more than that. It is not beneficial for anybody, for absolutely anybody. My appeal to the federal government is they should grant ASUU what they want, and ASUU should try as much as possible to stop going on strike.
Commenting on the effect of the strike, Chairman ASUU UNILAG branch, Professor Dele Ashiru, said the industrial action is total in UNILAG. Professor Ashiru said the warning strike may be extended if government at the end of the 4 weeks did not address the issues of honoring its agreement with ASUU.
The strike is total, comprehensive, and indefinite within the period stipulated by the National Executive Council of our union. The mandate of NERC is that the strike will be rolled over if within the next 4 weeks no concrete action is taken to meet the demands of our union. And the demands are not far-fetched. It has to do with the conclusion of the renegotiated agreement and its implementation, and the deployment of UTAS as a payment platform for academics who work within the university system. We are hoping that within the next 4 weeks, government will put its ass together and accede to these demands, failure of which NERC had mandated that the strike be rolled over for as long as government, is yet to meet those demands.
Boji Hoda, reporting for Vibrant TV News.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oludayo Amao, has charged men of the Nigerian Air Force not to relent in the fight against terrorism until peace is restored in the affected areas. He made this declaration on Wednesday when he met with branch heads, air officers, commanding and other senior officers at the Air Marshal MD Umar retired Blue Room in Abuja. The meeting was aimed at checking counter-terrorism, counter-insurgency efforts, and recommended the need for increased and sustained firepower to completely decimate the capabilities of all armed groups in the country. Air Marshal Mao used the opportunity to express his satisfaction with the progress made so far, especially in eliminating key terrorists in the northeast and northwest, as well as destroying their hideouts. He thereafter charged the Nigerian Air Force personnel engaged in ongoing joint operations to go after those against Nigerians' peace and progress, while ensuring that there is no hiding place for all terrorists and insurgents. A Gava team is currently at the National Strategic Cold Store in the nation's capital on an inspection review to access Nigeria's immunization cold chain. Leading the team, the UNICEF Director of Supply Division, Eslefa Kadili, said the assessment is an opportunity for a review of the country's comprehensive immunization supply chain strengthening strategy as the country kickstarts a new phase of marked vaccination campaign. Health authorities had recently launched the Scales 2.0 strategy, which is aimed at improving routine immunization in the country. The strategy was first introduced last year by the Primary Health Care Development Agency to rapidly ramp up COVID-19 vaccine coverage by expanding access to vaccines outside health facilities. And more stories, Justice Obiora Egwatu of the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court on Wednesday ordered the interim forfeiture of 10 properties as well as funds in bank accounts allegedly owned by former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari. The order, which was sequel to an ex parte application by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is to enable the Commission to conclude its investigation on the affected assets. The interim order would, however, last for 60 days, before which the Commission can then apply for final forfeiture. Meanwhile, Justice Egwatu ordered the ICPC to publicize the order for any person or persons with interest in the affected properties to show cause within 14 days, while they should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. Some of the properties, according to the ICPC, are in Maryland, USA, Abuja, Kaduna, among others. We'll go on a short break now. It's Africa News after the break. Now on the Africa scene, Nigeria's former president and chair of the Economic Community of West Africa State ECOWAS Council of the Wise, COW, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, has said the sub-region would not accept the 5-year transition period proposed by the military government in Mali because it is too long. Jonathan, who is also ECOWAS chief mediator on the Mali crisis, said military regimes had become an aberration in the sub-region and could no longer be tolerated. He spoke on Tuesday in Lagos during a press conference at the end of the 2-day strategic retreat of the ECOWAS Council of the Wise. Jonathan stressed that the proposal for a 5-year transition period for the military regime by the Malian parliament was unacceptable because the time was not only too long, but also untenable. Jonathan said his council recommended for the region free and compulsory education for all children from primary to secondary school level as part of efforts to ensure that young people were no longer easily recruited into evil agenda. Jonathan said the issue of bad leaders whose actions and inactions led to crisis in their countries was also being looked into. Now, a former Guinean minister had been imprisoned and another placed under judicial supervision in Conakry for embezzlement of public funds and corruption, a special prosecutor's office announced on Tuesday evening. The former budget minister under Alpha Conde, Ismail Diobate, was placed under warrant in a Conakry prison, while the former Minister of State and Special Advisor to the Presidency, Tibau Kamara, was placed under judicial supervision, said a statement from the Prosecutor's Office of the Court of Repression of Economic and Financial Offences, CRIF. Diobate and Kamara appeared on Tuesday before in the investigating chamber of the CRIF on charges of embezzlement of public funds, money laundering, corruption, and complicity. The CRIF also charged and placed under arrest on Wednesday Ms. Evelyn Fola Mansara, former Administrative and Financial Director of the Ministry of Technical Education and Vocational Training. A judicial investigation was also opened against Ms. Zainab Drame, also known as Zainab Nabaya, who headed the ministerial department under Mr. Conde. The charges against these 4 former officials were not specified by the CRIF. The military, which took power by force in Guinea, has made the fight against corruption reputed to be endemic one of these major battles. Colonel Mamadi Domboya, the head of the junta, who became president, assured that there was no witch hunt, but that justice could be the country's compass. The junta had proceeded to evict numerous executives from the state services. We're going on a short break right now. More African stories after the break. And now on the foreign scene, Ukraine's military has suspended operations at its port after Russian forces invaded the country by land and sea. An advisor to the president's chief of staff said on Thursday, as concerns grew about the flow of supplies from one of the world's top exporters of grains and oil seeds. Russia had earlier suspended movement of commercial vessels in the Azov Sea until further notice, but kept Russian ports in the Black Sea open for navigation, its officials, and 5 grain industry. This comes on the heels of Russian President Vladimir Putin's authorization of a special military operation against Ukraine on Thursday to eliminate what he called a serious threat, saying his aim was to demilitarize Russia's southern neighbor. Russia, the world's largest wheat exporter, mainly ships its grain from ports in the Black Sea. The Azov Sea port mainly exports wheat, barley, and corn to the Mediterranean importers like Turkey, Italy, Cyprus, Egypt, and Lebanon. Wheat prices in Chicago rose to the highest level in 9.5 years on Thursday, as the conflict threatened to disrupt the flow of supplies from the region, while European wheat futures climbed to a record peak. Russia and Ukraine account for 29% of global wheat exports, 19% of world maize supplies, and 80% of world sunflower oil exports. Russia produced 76 million tons of wheat last year, and is expected by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to export 35 million tons in the June to July season, 17% of the global total. Russia supplies wheat to all major global buyers, with Turkey and Egypt being the largest importers. And coming up is entertainment business news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amaribulam. IMAX set global box office of $277 million during the latest quarter rose by 15%, tapping $244.46 million in the fourth quarter of 2019, which was the company's highest grossing year ever as a result of some Hollywood tentpoles like Spider-Man No Way Home and Dune. The large format exhibitor also grew global box office by 146% year over year to $638 million for full year 2021. IMAX on Wednesday reported earnings attributable to shareholders of $10.1 million compared to a year earlier loss of $21.2 million and adjusted earnings per share at 31 cents compared to a 21 cents per share loss in 2019. Shares in IMAX were up by $1.77 or 9% to $21.25 in after-hour trading as the company pitched its latest fourth quarter as meetings or surpassing its pre-pandemic form across a number of key metrics including quarterly revenue, operating income, and earnings per share. Now away from that, with streaming giants providing opportunities for first-time directors and aspiring filmmakers to get their movies out to the globe, Netflix has launched a new program for UK-based directors with a budget of £1.5 million. Artists who also have something new to offer or see issues from a different angle will have their project sponsored by the initiative. The application process is open to all, and 6 teams will be selected to get £30,000 for initial development as well as training and mentoring sessions from Netflix senior executives. At least one promising project will be getting £1.5 million for the production process. And that's it on Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amaribulam.
And Samson Oloyede is standing by for sports business news.
The NFL is reportedly looking to land a new sponsor for its Super Bowl halftime show following the expiration of Pepsi's sponsorship after 10 years. The halftime show is one of the most watched parts of the Super Bowl's programming, and the rights could go for between $40 million to $50 million annually. Pepsi's previous deal with the NFL, signed in 2012, was valued at about $2.3 billion and includes much more than just the halftime show. Before Pepsi, Bridgestone was the show's sponsor and paid up to $10 million annually. And still talking sports business, the Washington Commanders were fined $10 million in July, but the continued fallout of the latest toxic workplace claims could end up costing owners in major U.S. sports much more. 3 Democratic members of Congress co-authored a bill that would alter the tax code to prevent the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds used to finance professional sports stadiums that have cost taxpayers billions of dollars over the last 2 decades. A study published in the National Tax Journal in March 2020 detailed the tax implications of sports venue projects since 2000. In total, tax-exempt municipal bonds led to an estimated $4.3 billion in lost federal tax revenue. Of the 57 stadiums studied, 43 built since 2000 were at least partially funded by tax-exempt municipal bonds. about $16.7 billion of tax-exempt bonds were issued to fund new venues. The bill, if passed, will lift the limited antitrust exemption that the NFL has had since the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. And finally, on sports business at this hour, the New Orleans Pelicans are going through a financial dilemma of whether to sign Zion Williamson to a max contract of $181 million or trade him following his injury woes. After recurring injuries all season long, Zion Williamson decided to rehab privately away from the team. At 21, the former #1 pick has played a total of 85 games for the Pelicans, in which they have won 40 and lost 45. He is in the third season of his rookie deal, which is $44.3 million worth, a 4-year deal. This offseason, he is eligible for a 5-year $181 million contract extension, which is $31.2 million annually. If no extension is signed, he will be a restricted free agent in 2023. On the other hand, he could sign a 1-year $17.6 million qualifying offer for the 2023-2024 season, making him an unrestricted free agent in 2024. And that's it on sports business. I'm Samson Oloide.
And at this point, we call it a wrap on News Now at this hour. For more news stories, visit our website, follow all our social media platforms. My name is Margaret Opa. Thanks for watching.